Let yourself grow still now. There is nothing more for you to do tonight. Nothing left to carry. Nothing waiting that cannot wait until the morning. The day has gone where all days go, into the quiet behind you, and it does not need you anymore. You can set it down. You can let your shoulders soften, and your hands grow loose and open, and your breath grow slow and deep, like snow falling far up in the high mountains where no one is watching. Listen, the story I am going to tell you tonight is very old and very slow, and it asks nothing of you but that you rest. You do not need to remember it. You do not need to follow every word. The words are only a soft path through the snow for you to walk down until you fall asleep, and you may fall asleep at any time you wish. Whenever your mind drifts, let it drift. Whenever your thoughts wander away from my voice, let them go. The way mist wanders down a mountainside and dissolves. That is exactly what is meant to happen here. Tonight we travel to a place that lies very far away, and yet, the old tellers say, very near. We travel to the great range of the Himalaya, the highest mountains in all the world, where the peaks rise white and silent into a sky so deep and so blue it is almost dark, even at midday. Imagine those mountains for a moment. Imagine standing somewhere among them, in the thin, clear, cold air, with the snow stretching away in every direction, and the only sound, the soft hush of the wind moving over the high, white slopes. Somewhere beyond those peaks, the old stories whisper. Hidden among ranges that no ordinary traveler has ever crossed, there lies a valley, a green and quiet valley, ringed all around by a wall of snow mountains, sheltered from every storm, lit by a soft and steady light. And in that valley, there is a kingdom, the most peaceful kingdom that has ever been, where no one is cruel and no one is afraid, and the people live in stillness and in wisdom, generation after generation, untouched by all the noise of the wider world. The old tellers called this hidden place Shambhala. You will not need to find it tonight. You only need to rest while I tell you of it. And of the long, slow journey one quiet seeker once made toward it, through the snow and the silence, up into the high places, looking for the Valley of Peace. For this is, more than anything, a story about a journey, and about how the destination was not at all where the seeker first thought it was. Let that be the first gift the story gives you. The journey is long, and there is no hurry in it at all. You do not have to arrive tonight. You only have to walk a little way, softly through the snow, until sleep comes and carries you the rest of the way. So, settle yourself. Grow warm and heavy under your blankets, the way a traveler grows warm at last beside a fire after a long day in the cold. And let us begin to climb, slowly, slowly, into the White Mountains. In a small village, low in the foothills of the great mountains, where the land was still green and gentle and the high peaks were only a pale line far off against the sky, there lived a seeker. We will not give the seeker any grand name, for it does not matter, and besides, the seeker could have been almost anyone. Perhaps the seeker was a little like you, in some quiet way, someone who did the ordinary things of an ordinary life, and who was not unhappy, and yet who felt, somewhere deep down, a small, steady longing for something more still, more peaceful, more whole than the world the seeker knew. The seeker had heard of the valley since childhood. In that village, on long winter evenings, the old people told stories by the fire. And among all the stories, there was one they told most softly and most rarely and with the most care. They told of Shambhala, the hidden kingdom, the valley of peace beyond the snows. They said that somewhere far up among the highest mountains, past ranges that grew colder and emptier and harder to cross, there was a place where the world was as it was always meant to be, a place of deep calm, a place where the heart could finally rest. Most of the village heard these stories the way you hear a pleasant dream and smiled, and went on with their lives and thought no more of it. But the seeker was different. The story of the valley settled into the seeker's heart like a seed into soft ground, and it would not stop growing there. On clear days, the seeker would look up to where the great peaks stood white on the far horizon and would feel a longing so quiet and so deep that there were no words for it. Somewhere up there, the seeker thought, somewhere beyond those mountains, a place of peace. For a long while, the seeker only longed and did nothing, the way most of us only long and do nothing. And there is no shame in that, for longing is its own slow kind of work. But the years passed, and the longing did not fade, and at last there came a quiet morning, an ordinary morning, when the seeker simply knew that the time had come to go. There was no great moment, no sudden sign, only a calm certainty, the way you sometimes know, lying in the dark, that it is finally time to let yourself sleep. So the seeker made ready. There was very little to take, for the journey would be long, and a traveler in the mountains must carry only what is needed: a warm cloak, a little food, a staff to lean on and to feel the path ahead in the snow, a small bowl to melt snow into water and to take whatever kindness strangers might offer along the way. The seeker tied these few things into a bundle and stood at the edge of the village in the cool of the early morning and looked up one last time at the pale far line of the mountains, and then turned and began to walk toward them. The old people had given the seeker only one true direction, and it was a strange one. Go toward the mountains, they had said, and keep going up, and do not be in a hurry, for the way to Shambhala cannot be rushed, and those who rush it never arrive. Walk gently, watch quietly, and when you are ready, the path will show itself. The seeker did not fully understand this, not yet, but the seeker tucked the words away to carry along, the way you might carry a small warm stone in your pocket and set out, step by slow step, into the foothills, toward the white mountains and the hidden valley somewhere beyond. There is something in that single direction worth resting on a moment, for it is the heart of the whole story, and it is the heart, too, of the rest you are sinking toward tonight. Do not be in a hurry. How strange that must have sounded to a seeker setting out on the longest journey of a life, and yet how true it would prove to be. The wisest travelers of the mountains had always known it. The peace at the end of the road could not be seized by force, could not be won by speed, could not be torn from the world by anyone determined enough to grasp it. It could only be allowed, gently, the way you allow sleep to come, by ceasing at last to fight for it. The seeker did not know this yet, but the seeker would learn it slowly, mile by mile, the way the high mountains teach all their hardest and kindest lessons, in silence, over time. Let yourself walk with the seeker now, just for a little while, in your mind. Feel the cool morning air. Feel the road soft beneath your feet. Feel the great mountains drawing slowly nearer, hour by hour, day by day, patient and white and waiting. There is nowhere you have to be tonight. There is only the road and the rising land and the quiet rhythm of one slow step after another, carrying you gently upward into sleep. For many days, the seeker walked, and the land rose slowly underfoot, and the green of the lowlands gave way, little by little, to the gray and silver of the high country. This was the first part of the journey, the gentlest part, and the seeker came to love it, the way you come to love the slow early hours of a long, quiet night. The path wound up two valleys where rivers ran cold and clear from the melting snows far above, tumbling over smooth gray stones, singing the only song that ever filled those wide and lonely places. The seeker walked beside the rivers and listened to them, and sometimes stopped to rest on a flat, warm stone and let the sound of the water wash through, and felt, in those moments, the first faint touch of the peace the seeker had come so far to find. There was no one to talk to. There was nothing to do. There was only the river and the wind and the wide gray sky, and the great patient mountains drawing always nearer. The seeker passed through small villages clinging to the mountainsides, little clusters of stone houses with prayer flags strung between them, faded squares of color, red and white and yellow and green and blue, fluttering softly in the wind, sending their quiet blessings out over the valleys. The people in these high villages were kind, in the simple, unhurried way of those who live close to the silence of the mountains. They gave the seeker a bowl of warm food, a place by the fire, a night out of the cold, and when the seeker asked them, softly, whether they knew the way to the hidden valley, to Shambhala beyond the snows, they would smile and grow thoughtful, and say only what the old people of the seeker's own village had said. Keep going up, do not hurry, walk gently, and the way will show itself. The seeker did not yet understand why no one could simply point the way, but the seeker had learned, in those long days of walking, to stop demanding answers, and to let the journey teach what it would teach in its own slow time. So the seeker thanked the kind people, and rested, and rose in the cold blue dark before each dawn, and walked on, always upward, into the thinning air and the deepening quiet. And as the seeker climbed higher, something began to change, gently from the inside. Down in the village, in the old ordinary life, the seeker's mind had always been full, crowded with small worries and plans and remembered conversations, a noise that never quite stopped. But up here, in the great emptiness of the high country, that noise began, very slowly, to fall away. There was so much silence in the mountains that the seeker's own thoughts began to grow quieter to match it. The way your voice drops to a whisper when you enter a vast and silent hall. Day by day, the seeker's mind grew stiller. The endless inner chatter thinned out like the air, and through the gaps in it came a clean, cold peace, like mountain water. Perhaps you can feel a little of that now, lying still in the dark. The way the quiet of the night slowly quiets you. The way, as the noise of the day falls away, something clear and calm and spacious begins to open inside you. You do not have to make it happen. You only have to let the silence do its slow work. The way the seeker let the silence of the mountains do its work, walking gently upward, day after day, into the rising white. There were nights, in those high, lonely villages, when the seeker would lie awake a little while in the dark, listening to the wind move over the stone roofs and the prayer flags snap softly in the cold, and would feel the great mountains pressing close all around in the dark, vast and silent and patient. And on those nights, a quiet doubt would sometimes rise. Was the valley real at all? Had anyone ever truly found it? Or was it only a beautiful story the old people told to warm the long winter evenings? The seeker did not know, but each time the doubt rose, the seeker would remember the deep calm that came beside the rivers, the clean, cold peace that filled the chest in the silence of the heights, and would think it does not matter, in the end, whether the valley is real. The journey itself is changing me, quieting me, opening something in me. Whatever lies ahead, the walking is already a gift. And so the doubt would soften and dissolve, the way a cloud dissolves off a peak in the morning sun, and the seeker would drift into a deep and peaceful sleep, and rise in the cold blue dark and walk on. The path grew steeper. The trees, which had thinned as the seeker climbed, gave out altogether at last, and there were no more villages, and no more rivers running green and warm, only the bare gray rock and the first patches of old snow lying in the shadows of the stones. The seeker pulled the warm cloak closer and leaned on the staff and went on, up out of the world of green and growing things, toward the great white silence of the peaks. The foothills were behind now. The true mountains lay ahead, and somewhere beyond them, the valley, still hidden, still waiting, drew the seeker gently on. Now the seeker passed into the world of snow, and the journey became something other than it had been, slower and stranger and more beautiful, the way the deepest part of the night is other than the evening that came before it. Here there was no more green at all. The world was made now of only three things: the white of the snow, the gray and black of the bare rock where it stood too steep for snow to cling, and the deep, clear blue of the sky overhead. The air was thin, so thin that the seeker walked slowly now, breathing deep and even, resting often, for there was no rushing in such heights, and the body knew it. Each step was its own small, careful thing, set down with attention into the crisp, cold snow, and the seeker found that this, too, was a kind of peace. This walking so slowly that each single step became the whole of the world. The silence up here was greater than any silence the seeker had ever known. It was not the small quiet of a still room. It was a vast and ringing silence. The silence of high, empty places where no living thing stirred for miles, where the only sound was the seeker's own slow breathing and the soft creak of snow underfoot. Sometimes, far off, there would come the deep, hushed rumble of snow sliding from a distant peak, and then the great silence would close over it again, deeper than before. The seeker walked through that silence as through a held breath, and felt held by it, cradled by the very vastness that might have frightened another traveler. The mountains themselves were beyond anything the seeker had imagined from below. Up close, the great peaks rose so high that they seemed less like mountains than like presences, immense and patient and still, their summits trailing long, soft banners of blown snow against the dark blue sky. In the early mornings, when the first light came, the high snows turned the softest pink and gold, glowing as if lit from within, and the seeker would stand still in the cold and watch the light move slowly down the slopes, and feel something in the chest grow tender and wide and quiet at the sheer silent beauty of it. The cold was deep, but the seeker had learned to live within it the way you learn, on a winter night, to make a small, warm world for yourself beneath the blankets while the cold stands waiting just beyond. Each evening, the seeker would find some shelter, the lee of a great boulder, a shallow hollow in the rock out of the wind, and would melt a little snow in the small bowl, and eat a little of the food that was left, and wrap the warm cloak close, and rest. And the nights up there were a wonder beyond telling. For the sky, with no village light anywhere to soften it, filled from edge to edge with stars, more stars than the seeker had ever seen, vast and bright and silent, wheeling slowly overhead through the long, cold dark. Lying there beneath those mountain stars, with the great peaks standing white and silent all around, the seeker felt very small, and yet not afraid, and not alone. There was a presence in the high silence, something calm and ancient and kind, that seemed to hold the seeker the way the dark holds a sleeping child. And the seeker began to understand, dimly, that the peace the seeker had come so far to find was not only waiting in some hidden valley up ahead. It was here. It was already beginning to fill the seeker, quietly, with every slow breath of the thin, clear air, with every hour of the great mountain silence. There were days, too, in the high white world, when the seeker walked through cloud, when the mist came down soft and white over the snows, and the world shrank to a small circle of gray and white all around, and the great peaks vanished, and there was nothing to see at all but the next few steps of the path and the slow drifting of the cloud. On those days, the seeker learned a deeper trust still. There was no horizon to walk toward, no distant landmark to fix upon, nothing to do but set down one careful step after another into the soft white blindness and trust that the path went on. And it always did. The mist would lift in time, the way all mists lift, and the great peaks would return, glowing in the clean light, and the seeker would see how far the patient steps had carried through the cloud. There is a quiet lesson in that too. For the nights when you cannot see your way, you do not need to see far. You need only take the next soft step into the dark and trust that it will hold, and let the mist do as it will. Rest in that now. As you lie in your own warm dark, feel the vast, still mountains standing all around you, ancient and patient and kind. Feel the deep silence holding you, the way it held the seeker. Feel the cold beyond your blankets, only making the warmth within them sweeter. There is nowhere to hurry to. There is only the high white world, and the wheeling stars, and the slow breath, drawing the quiet of the mountains into you, deeper and deeper, until you are as still as the peaks themselves. The seeker climbed, and crossed one high pass, and came down a little into a hidden fold of the mountains, and climbed again to another pass, higher than the first. And here, the journey revealed the truth of why no one in all those villages had ever simply pointed the way to Shambhala. For the mountains, the seeker now saw, did not end. Beyond each range, there was another range. Beyond each white horizon, there rose another, higher and farther and more remote. From the top of that second pass, the seeker stood and looked out over a sight that might have broken a less patient heart. Range upon range upon range of snow mountains, stretching away into the far blue distance, farther than the eye could follow. Fold after fold of white peaks going on, it seemed, forever. There was no green valley anywhere in sight. There was no shining city, no ring of guardian mountains around a hidden land of peace. There was only the endless white, range beyond range, silent and vast, and seemingly without end. A traveler who was in a hurry, a traveler who had come for the destination only, might have despaired at that sight and turned back and gone home defeated, saying there is no valley, The old stories were only stories. I have come all this way for nothing. And the seeker, standing in the cold wind on the high pass, felt the first cold touch of that despair. So far, so long. And still, no sign of the valley. Still only mountains and more mountains beyond counting. But then the seeker remembered the words, "Do not hurry, walk gently. The way to Shambhala cannot be rushed, and those who rush it never arrive." And standing there, looking out over the endless ranges, the seeker began at last to understand what those words had truly meant all along. The valley was not a thing to be reached by going far enough, fast enough. The endlessness of the mountains was not an obstacle on the way to the peace the seeker sought. The endlessness of the mountains was the teaching itself. For what could the seeker do? Faced with ranges that had no end, there was no point now in straining toward a destination, in counting the miles and longing to arrive. For the arriving might never come, or might lie 1,000 mountains away. The only thing left to do, the only thing that made any sense at all, was to let go of the arriving altogether and to give the whole of the heart, instead, to the walking, to this step, to this breath, to this single white peak glowing in this single moment of light, to stop reaching forward and simply be here, fully here, in the vast and beautiful present of the mountains. And as the seeker let go, standing on the high pass, something loosened and opened in the chest, and a deep, quiet gladness came flooding in. For the truth was that the journey itself had become beautiful beyond anything the seeker had imagined. The silence, the stars, the glowing peaks at dawn, the slow, careful steps through the crisp snow, the great kind presence in the high stillness. All of it was already the peace the seeker had set out to find. The seeker had been walking through Shambhala, in a way, for many days and had not seen it, because the seeker had been so busy looking ahead, straining toward a valley somewhere over the next range, that the seeker had not noticed the peace already present in every quiet step. Feel the gentleness of that turning now, as you lie in the dark, the way the striving falls away, the way the reaching forward, the longing to arrive, the counting and the measuring, all of it grows quiet, and there is left only this breath, this stillness, this soft, warm, dark holding you. You do not have to get anywhere tonight. You do not have to arrive. You have only to be here, fully and softly here, and let that be enough. The way the seeker learned, at last, on the high pass, to let the endless mountains simply be enough. After the high pass, the seeker walked differently. The straining was gone, and the hurry, and the anxious longing to arrive. The seeker walked now only for the walking, rested only for the resting, breathed only for the breathing, and gave the whole of a quiet attention to each thing as it came. And it was then, the old tellers say, when the seeker had finally stopped reaching for the valley, that the valley began, very slowly, to draw near. For the way to Shambhala, the stories tell, is not found by those who chase it. It is found by those who grow still. The hidden valley does not reveal itself to the restless and the grasping, however far they travel or however hard they climb. It reveals itself gently to the quiet heart, to the one who has let go of the longing and learned at last to simply be where they are. And so, as the seeker's heart grew still, the path itself began to change. The seeker noticed it first in small ways. The mountains, which had seemed so harsh and endless, began to feel welcoming, as though they were no longer a barrier, but a guide. The seeker would come to a fork in the way, where the path might have gone left or right, and would feel, quietly and without any doubt, which way to go, the way you feel, half asleep, which way to turn to find the most comfortable rest. There was a rightness to each step now. The seeker had stopped pushing against the mountains and begun, instead, to move with them, the way a leaf moves with a stream, carried gently along by something larger and wiser than itself. The weather, too, seemed to soften and to favor the seeker. The fierce winds that scoured the high passes grew gentle when the seeker needed to cross them. The storms that gathered dark over the distant peaks held off, or passed by to one side, leaving the seeker's way clear under the deep blue sky, and the light in the high country grew, if anything, more beautiful and more tender than before. A soft, golden light that seemed to gather lovingly around the snow peaks at dawn and dusk, so that the seeker walked, day by day, through a world that grew always more luminous, more still, more deeply at peace. The seeker understood now that this was the true journey, the inner one, and that all the long miles through the snow had been only the outer shape of it. The real path had been the slow quieting of the seeker's own heart, the letting go of hurry and striving, and the endless reaching after some better place. And as that inner stillness deepened, the outer world had answered it, growing gentler and more luminous, until the very mountains seemed to lean toward the seeker like old friends, opening the way. There is a deep and quiet truth folded into this part of the story, and you do not have to hold it. Only let it warm you as you drift toward sleep. It is this: the peace we seek is never as far away as we think. We go searching for it over endless mountains, straining toward some distant valley where at last we imagine we will rest. But the valley draws near only when we stop straining, only when we grow still where we are, only when we let go of the chase and settle softly into the present moment. The way is found through stillness. It was always found through stillness. And is that not exactly the way of sleep itself? You cannot chase it. You cannot force it by reaching and straining toward it. Sleep, like the hidden valley, comes only to the still heart, the one that has let go of the day, let go of the wanting, and settled softly into the warm dark of the present moment. So let yourself grow still now, the way the seeker grew still. Let go of every reaching. Let go of every hurry. And feel how, as the stillness deepens, the gentle valley of sleep begins, all on its own, to draw quietly near. It happened on a morning of perfect stillness, when the air was so clear and so calm that the whole world seemed to be holding a single soft breath. The seeker had climbed through the cold blue dark of the early hours, up the long slope of one more high pass, the highest yet, and reached its crest just as the first light of the sun came over the eastern peaks. And there, looking down from the top of the pass, the seeker saw it at last. Below, cradled in a great ring of snow mountains, lay a valley. It was green, a soft and gentle green, the first green the seeker had seen in many long days of white and gray. And the sight of it brought a sudden warmth flooding into the seeker's chest. The mountains stood all around it in a vast protecting circle, their white peaks catching the gold of the dawn, sheltering the valley within from every wind and every storm. And the valley itself lay quiet and luminous in the soft morning light, threaded with bright streams, dotted with groves of trees, and there, in its heart, rising gently from among gardens and still pools, the seeker could see the soft shapes of a city, white and golden, peaceful as a held thought. It was Shambhala. The seeker knew it at once, knew it the way you know a face you have loved all your life, though you have never seen it, knew it in the deepest quiet of the heart, the hidden valley of peace, the kingdom beyond the snows, lay there below in the morning light, real after all, and more beautiful than all the stories had ever told. But here is the strange and gentle thing, the thing the seeker understood in that first long moment of looking, and that I would like you to carry softly down into sleep. The seeker, gazing down at the longed-for valley, felt great joy, yes, but felt no surprise, and no sense of arriving somewhere utterly new, for the peace that filled the valley below was the very same peace that had been filling the seeker's own heart, more and more, with every quiet step of the long journey through the snows. The valley was not a different peace, a greater peace, waiting at the end of the road. It was the same stillness the seeker had already found within, now simply reflected back, made visible, in the green and golden land below. The seeker stood a long while on the high pass and looked down at Shambhala and understood. The valley had always been near. It had been near in the silence of the high mountains, near in the wheeling stars, near in each slow, careful step through the snow, near in the soft golden light at dawn. The seeker had carried Shambhala within all along, growing it quietly with each letting go, with each deepening of stillness. And now the inner valley and the outer valley had simply met and become one. In the clear light of the morning, there was no need to hurry down. There was no need even to go down at all in that moment, for the peace was already complete. The seeker simply stood and looked and let the great quiet gladness fill every corner of the heart. While the sun rose higher and the light moved golden down the snow peaks and out across the green and gentle valley of Shambhala, the valley of peace, found at last and recognized in the end as something that had been near all along. Let that fill you now, soft and warm as the dawn light on the snow. The long journey complete, the hidden valley found, and the deep, sweet understanding that the peace was never far away, never something to be chased over endless mountains, but something near, something within, waiting only for the heart to grow still enough to see it. You are very near that valley now, in your own way, lying still and warm in the dark. You have only to keep growing quieter and let it draw near and welcome you in. The old tellers loved to describe the valley of Shambhala, and tonight, as you drift toward sleep, let me describe it to you softly, the way they did, so that you may rest a while within its peace before the story ends. The seeker came down at last from the high pass, on a path that seemed to open gently of itself, and crossed into the green valley, and walked among its quiet wonders, and everything there was, as the stories had promised, and more. The air in the valley was mild and sweet, neither too warm nor too cold, the way the air is on the most perfect evening of late spring, when you could lie out under the sky all night and never feel a chill. The light was soft and golden and even, falling gently on everything, with no harshness anywhere. The way the light falls in the last hour before sunset, only it never faded, never dimmed, but held the whole valley always in that tender glow. The land of Shambhala was full of gardens, and the gardens were full of flowers of every kind and color, blooming all at once and all year round. For in that sheltered valley, there was no harsh winter to kill them, and no burning summer to wither them, only the one long, gentle season of peace. Among the gardens ran clear streams of pure cold water, melted from the snows of the Guardian Mountains, and the streams were full of the soft sound of water moving over smooth stones, the most peaceful sound in all the world. There were groves of fruit trees, always heavy with sweet fruit, and quiet pools where the snow peaks were reflected, and birds that sang gently among the branches, and a deep and pervading calm that lay over everything, like a soft, warm blanket over a sleeping child. And the people of Shambhala were the gentlest people the seeker had ever known. They lived in the white and golden city in the heart of the valley, and in quiet houses scattered among the gardens, and they had lived there in peace for longer than anyone could remember. Generation after generation, untouched by all the wars and griefs and hurries of the wider world beyond the mountains. There was no cruelty among them, and no greed and no fear. They did not struggle against one another, or against the world, or even against themselves. They had learned long ago the secret the seeker had learned on the high pass, the secret of stillness, of letting go, of being fully and gently present to each quiet moment. And so their whole long lives were lived in a deep, unbroken peace. They welcomed the seeker kindly, as they welcomed all the few quiet travelers who, across the long ages, had grown still enough in heart to find their way to the valley. They gave the seeker food and rest and a place among them, and asked nothing in return, for they had everything they needed and wanted nothing more. And the seeker, who had traveled so far and so long, settled gratefully into the great peace of Shambhala, and breathed its sweet, mild air, and listened to its gentle streams, and rested at last, the deep and complete rest of one who has come home. For that was what the valley felt like. More than anything, it felt like coming home, not to a place the seeker had ever been before, but to a peace the seeker had always somehow known, deep down, beneath all the noise and hurry of the old life. The valley of Shambhala was the home the heart had been longing for all along, the still center, the place of rest found now in the world, but recognized somehow as something the seeker had carried within from the very beginning. Rest there now in the valley with the seeker. Feel the mild, sweet air. Feel the soft golden light that never fades. Hear the gentle streams and the soft songs of the birds, and the deep enfolding quiet of a land where no one is ever afraid. Smell the flowers of the endless gardens. Feel the great kindness of the peaceful people all around you. You have come a long way to be here, and there is nothing more to do now, nowhere more to go. You are home in the valley of peace, held in its golden stillness, and you may rest as deeply and as long as your heart desires. And so the seeker's long journey came to its quiet end. In the green and golden valley of Shambhala, ringed all around by the great white Guardian Mountains, sheltered forever from the storms of the wider world. But there was one last gift the valley had to give, one last gentle truth, and it is the truth I would leave you with now, as you sink down at last toward sleep. For as the seeker rested in the peace of Shambhala, and as the days passed in their soft, unhurried way, the seeker came to understand, fully and finally, what the whole long journey had been for. It had not been for the sake of reaching a faraway place. The faraway place was real, yes, green and golden and full of peace, but the journey to it had been, all along, a journey inward, a slow quieting of the heart, a patient letting go of hurry and striving, and the endless reaching after some better life somewhere else. And the peace the seeker had found in the valley was, in the end, the very same peace the seeker had been slowly building within, step by quiet step, breath by quiet breath, all the long way through the snows. This is the deep teaching of the old story, and it is a gentle one, and you do not have to hold it, only let it carry you down into rest. The hidden valley of peace is real, and it is far away, beyond ranges of snow mountains no ordinary traveler can cross. And the hidden valley of peace is also near, nearer than your own breath, for it lies within you and always has, waiting only for the heart to grow still enough to find it. The seeker traveled to the ends of the earth, across endless white mountains, to discover what had been quietly waiting in the seeker's own heart all along. The way to Shambhala is the way of stillness, and stillness is something you carry with you, always, wherever you are. And so, tonight, you do not have to travel anywhere at all to find the Valley of Peace. You do not have to cross the snows. You do not have to climb the high passes. You have only to do what the seeker learned, at last, to do. You have only to grow still, to let go of the day and the hurry and the wanting, to stop reaching forward toward some better moment, and to settle softly and completely into the warm, dark stillness of right now. And there, in that stillness, the valley will open all around you, the green and golden valley of peace, ringed by its silent mountains, lit by its soft, unfading light, and it will welcome you home. Feel it drawing near now, as your breath grows slow and deep. Feel the great white mountains standing guard all around you, sheltering you from every storm, holding you safe in the quiet of the night. Feel the soft golden light of the hidden valley gathering gently around you. Hear the peaceful streams, far off and near, singing you down toward sleep. Smell the flowers of the endless gardens. Feel the deep, enfolding peace of a place where no one is ever afraid, where the heart can finally, fully rest. The long journey is over. The endless mountains are crossed. The hidden valley is found, and it was within you all along. There is nowhere else to go, and nothing left to do, and no peace left to seek, for the peace is here, all around you, holding you softly in the warm dark. Let your breath grow slow as snow falling on the high peaks. Let your body grow still as the silent mountains. Let my voice grow faint, and let the words blur gently into the dark, and let yourself sink, slow and deep and warm, down into the green and golden valley of peace, where the stillness has been waiting for you all along. Rest now. You are home. The valley holds you. Good night.